We got ourselves a new development in the entire Tucker Carlson versus Fox News fiasco, where basically he parted ways, he got fired, whatever, that whole drama. And now it's being reported by a bunch of different news sources. First reported by the New York Times, because, Fox News is like leaking all of this stuff about Tucker Carlson all of a sudden now that they've parted ways. And now we have a new report that's basically saying that Tucker Carlson got fired from Fox News because he sent a racist text message. I'm not joking. That is literally what they're saying here. Let's go ahead and read the article. I'll read this Vanity Fair article only because they have like the full text message. And it's very interesting because when you actually read the entire text message that he sent, like the full thing, it actually kind of humanizes him, in my opinion. You see, if you just look at a headline that says, oh, Tucker sent the racist text, well, that doesn't put the entire thing into context. When you read the entire article and you read the entire text that was sent, you start to realize that, yeah, this might actually backfire on Fox News. Whoever's leaking it, I think it's Fox News is probably leaking it, but whoever's leaking all this stuff, because, it's not just the text message that got leaked. They're leaking all this other stuff, like things that he said behind the scenes and off camera. And like I said, guys, one thing that I want to do on this channel is I try to be realistic. I try to be reasonable. And I try to preach common sense on my channel. That's what we do here. We don't do the bias thing. I'm not right. I'm not left. I just tell the truth. And one of the things that I can tell you is it's very easy to take anybody's off-camera moments. It's very easy to do that. You can take anybody. I don't care how great of a person you think they are. You could take Michelle Obama's off-camera moments, things that she said off-camera, and leak them to the press. And there'll be some things that society considers to be problematic. That's just how it goes. Nobody's perfect. You're always going to say stuff, or, we're human beings. Sometimes you have a bad day. Sometimes you get emotional. Sometimes you say things that you wish you wouldn't have said. Anybody can take somebody's off-camera moments and leak it and make it seem like they're the worst person in the world. So to me personally, I don't really care too much for, all these new leaks that are coming out of nowhere ever since he parted ways. But let's go ahead and get to the article. So they're saying here that a private text message that higher-ups were only made aware of last month set off a panic at the company. Let's go ahead and read it. Before he was abruptly fired by Fox News last month, Tucker Carlson spent years hosting what many people would agree was, and what the New York Times literally called, the most racist show in the history of cable news. Okay, so obviously this is a biased article, but so I'm not going to go too deep into it because, again, I try my hardest not to be biased. And you could already tell just by reading it that this article is biased, but they do have the full text message. So we're going to go ahead and go into that. So it says right here, yes, the New York Times reports that one of Carlson's texts set off a panic at the highest levels of Fox on the eve of its billion-dollar defamation trial and contributed to a chain of events that ultimately led to Carlson's firing. The message sent to a producer in the hours following the January 6, 2021 insurrection reportedly reads as follows. Now, we're going to go ahead and read the entire text message. It says right here, and this is the text message that Carlson sent. A couple of weeks ago, I was watching video of people fighting on the street in Washington. A group of Trump guys surrounded an Antifa kid and started pounding the living shit out of him. It was 3 against 1, at least. Jumping a guy like that is dishonorable, obviously. It's not how it's not how white men fight. This is the message that got him in trouble, by the way. So let me read that again. Jumping a guy like that is dishonorable, obviously. It's not how white men fight. Yet suddenly, I found myself rooting for the mob against the man, hoping they'd hit him harder, kill him. I really wanted to hurt the kid. I could taste it. Then somewhere deep in my brain, an alarm went off. This isn't good for me. I'm becoming something I don't want to be. The Antifa creep is a human being. Much as I despise what he says and does, much as I despise what he says and does, much as I'm sure I'd hate him personally if I knew him, I shouldn't gloat over his suffering. I should be bothered by it. I should remember that somewhere somebody probably loves this kid and would be crushed if he was killed. If I don't care about those things, if I reduce people to their politics, how am I better than he is? So, again, this actually paints into perspective the fact that Tucker Carlson, at this time was kind of changing, or at least kind of realizing his mistakes or some of his flaws, which I would view as a good thing. Now, in terms of his message right here that says, it's not how white men fight. Yeah, that's not a good look. It's not a good thing to say. There's definitely some racial undertones behind that for sure. it's not good to say, oh, that's not how white men fight, because now you're kind of insinuating that, white men are more civilized. They don't go into packs and jump people. Only black people do that. Like that's what everybody is interpreting it as. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it looks like. So yeah, definitely not a good look. But when you look at the entirety of the text message, it really doesn't look that bad. Obviously, that little part is not that good. But here's my issue too, because I'm seeing the mainstream media, at least the ones that are mostly dominated by the left, which most media is dominated by the left. They're trying to paint it as it's the worst thing in the world. Tucker Carlson's so bad, so racist. When in reality, he's actually said worse things than that on Fox News. Like, he said way worse things, in my opinion, than that on national television. So there's two things that I think that are wrong here. I think, one, the mainstream media is trying to blow this out of proportion. I don't know who's behind it. I don't know whose idea this is. But I think most people with common sense will be able to see through this. They're clearly trying to paint this narrative. I saw the Twitter keyboard warriors saying Tucker Carlson's a misogynist. He's a bigot. He's hateful. He's racist. The worst, just all that stuff, right? And my thing is, if you want to call him that for some of the things that he said on Fox News on live television, fine. But this text message just doesn't do it for me. Because, like I said, on mainstream television, and not just Tucker Carlson, there's been a lot of media pundits who have said way worse things on television than that. Now, the other part that I want to harp on, too, is I think this is complete baloney. I think this is complete BS. Let's all use our brains here. Tucker Carlson did not get fired over this text message. We still don't know the real reason, okay? Obviously, it's going to come out at some point. But I also do want to point out, guys, that one thing we do know is that during the trial, right, there was a lawsuit that took place between Dominion and Fox News. And during this trial, they went through this part called discovery. They went through the discovery phase. During this discovery phase, a bunch of text messages and leaks and emails and all that stuff got leaked. And some of them happened to feature Tucker Carlson. Now, a lot of people are speculating that the reason why Tucker Carlson got fired is because of some of the texts that Fox News may have seen, that were pretty much made, not public, but that were shown to them in the court documents. Some people are alleging that there's some things that Tucker Carlson said that are worse than what we know. So I guess we're going to have to stay tuned to see what other text messages or leaks come out, because I'm telling you right now, there's probably going to be more. But yeah, for me personally, I just think that this entire thing is going to backfire. I think most people with common sense, who are reasonable human beings, don't really see this as that big of a deal. And again, the other problem that I think the media makes all the time, the woke left, whatever you want to call it, these woke people, is they take somebody that's really popular and they try to cancel them. And to me, the only people that are canceling them are the echo chamber people. That's really what I think. I think people like myself, who's like more moderate, I'm not far left, I'm not far right, I'm really just down the middle. People like me don't really care. We're the silent majority for the most part. I don't really care that much about Tucker Carlson. Like, I don't really watch him. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he's a powerful voice in the country, no doubt. I think he has a huge fan base. But people like me don't care when you say, oh, Tucker Carlson's a racist, a bigot, he's horrible. I just don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't care. Obviously, his fan base doesn't care. You can say all you want. Oh, Tucker Carlson is a bigot. He's horrible. He's a misogynist. He's transphobic, homo, whatever. All these different names that they call people. His fan base doesn't care. They're going to watch him. They're going to listen to him. They're going to consume his content. His fan base doesn't care. So then you got two big groups that don't care. Tucker Carlson's main fan base doesn't care. And the regular, everyday, average American, who's pretty much a moderate, middle of the road, we don't care either. You know what I mean? The silent majority doesn't really care either. So the only people who really care are the loudmouths, the loudmouth people on Twitter with the blue hair and the keyboard, the keyboard warriors, the little echo chamber people who think that everybody who doesn't agree with what they think is a misogynist and is a bigot and is a racist and all this stuff. Those are the only people who really care. So, like I said, I just don't really think that this is that huge of a deal. Again, I want to make it clear, I am not a fan of the comment that he made, that he said it's not how white men fight, and I already kind of explained it. But, I'm also not going to say, oh, he should be canceled. Get the pitchforks ready. Like, I just don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, I never really watched Tucker anyway. Like, I respect what he's done. I respect some of the things that he said. I've seen some of his segments before. To be honest with you, a lot of what he says I don't agree with, but that's okay. That's what this show's all about. I'm just here to report the news and just kind of give a fair and balanced opinion without being too biased. That's really what I serve to do. So, yeah, that's basically my coverage on the whole situation. I guess the main thing that I want to say in this video is there's no way in hell that he got fired over these text messages. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't believe that at all. And yeah, it's crazy what Fox News or whoever's leaking this stuff is trying to do to him. I don't think it's going to work. I don't know what's going to happen with his contract, but I will definitely keep you guys updated on that. I already said in the last video, I actually think he should go to Valuetainment. Valuetainment, Patrick Bet-David offered him $100 million to come to their network. I think that'd be the perfect fit for him. That's just my thoughts. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next one.